Hi, everyone. Welcome to Authors on the Air. This is the part of the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. I'm your host, James Latwell. And with us today, we have Mary Keliikoa and Mary's new book, Don't Ask, Don't Follow. If you're a fan of suspense and dark family secrets, we've got the book for you. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you for having me.
So this is a standalone. When I was reading this, I was wondering if this could possibly turn into a series because you've got some great characters in this story. Any thought to expanding this story further?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a few times. When I first wrote it, I actually had the ending so that it leaned into a series just because I'm a series writer. I think, I tend to think that way. Um, but my agent actually said, no, let's make it more standalone. But still, at the end of the day, Beth Ralston is a paralegal and Lindsay, her sister, is an investigative reporter. So
Right.
I don't have a story two in mind quite yet, but I'm not going to say never. I think it's primed for it.
That was the feeling I came away with was, yeah, there could be more meat on the bone here because those are such great characters. And what you put them through and Don't Ask, Don't Follow. Maybe you can tell folks a little bit about this book and what the storyline is about.
Yeah, so it really does center around the two sisters, Beth and Lindsay. And Beth is a little sister, and she's always kind of cleaning up Lindsay's messes. That's kind of her what she thinks anyway. And so the story starts out at a holiday Christmas party, and Beth would much rather be working because she's a workaholic. And but she's going to do the obligatory rounds. And her sister was supposed to be her plus one, but she's a no-show. And so Beth decides she's done for the night. She heads back to her office to pick up her stuff, and she finds her boss has been murdered, and she'd just spoken to him like 10 minutes or 20 minutes prior. And her sister is racing out the back door, and then she can't catch up with her sister, and she goes back to wait for the police, and then she finds a message that says, "Don't ask and don't follow." And of course, Beth's heard "don't ask" forever, that she's a little sister, right? But "don't follow"
Yeah.
is kind of reserved for when Lindsay's doing something she shouldn't be doing. So, and then Beth has like about a second to decide whether she's going to cover for her sister because the detective is on scene and wants to know everything Beth knows. So we know she's going to cover, and then she's going to try to, find out what the heck Lindsay's up to, and it's going to take her into all sorts of dark places. So,
Yeah, and it does, and it's a fun read. It's kind of like a Russian nesting doll of secrets. I mean, what is it about secrets and dark family secrets that are so intriguing and pull a reader into those kinds of stories?
well, I think, family is complex anyway. And whether we love them or we hate them, we all have them on some level, right? So I think, just being dropped into that world, we immediately connect with that. We can see ourselves in that picture, and I think that's why we find ourselves turning those pages to find out, if I was Beth, what would I be doing with this information? How would I handle this right now? And some people would be like, I'm running the opposite direction, but Beth's a little tougher than that. She's brave, so she keeps moving forward. So, but I think that that's what compels us to keep reading about that. We're kind of curious. And also we can also go, well, at least my family doesn't do that. you know, right? They're not as
True.
bad as I thought. Geez, I don't have that secret going on.
Yep. Yeah. No. I thought it was really well done. It just as the book and the story progressed, it's like all these secrets start becoming unraveled, and it really. Yeah, Beth is in for an eye opener by the time this book is done, isn't she?
She really is. And it's amazing how you can know people and not know people at all. What
Yep.
they keep from you. Really, that's kind of the overall at that of the book, is that everything you see is really not what it is. So it's kind of cool. I
Nice.
like that.
Yeah,
As a
it's
writer, I
very it's very cool. No, it is. Now, Beth's character shows up in a lot of different ways in the book, and you mentioned, I mean, right from the very, very beginning, she's always covering for Lindsay. Um, how did you kind of develop that idea for that kind of dynamic with those two characters, with Beth and Lindsay, and that relationship that they have?
Yeah, and it really is kind of the opposite, right? Because I think the older one often thinks that they're the ones that are doing that. But I'm a little sister, and I have a very responsible big sister. So this was really not about my sister. In fact, I dedicated the book to her, and she's like, "You don't do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But I had a brother, a little older brother, that I did cover for quite a bit, and so I used some of that experience in my as I created the Beth and Lindsay type of thing. So my brother was always getting into trouble. So I was always covering. So yeah, so that's kind of how I developed that. Just I knew how that felt and how you want them not to be into trouble. So you say things, you do things, you're, always hoping for the best sort of situation. So
Yeah, I wondered if there was some personal experience there because that dynamic just played so authentically, between the two sisters. It was really well done.
oh good. Yeah, a little personal.
Yeah, good, good. Now now Beth jumps right into the investigation and tries to, not only find out what's going on with her sister, but, and did her sister do this thing that it looks like she might have done, with the dead law partner. Um, how did you go about putting her into that situation as the investigator and not just relying on the police and that kind of stuff to follow the investigation in this case?
Yeah, well, I think because she wants to cover for Lindsay, really ultimately at first, she wants to find out what happened. She just wants the side of the story. And I think, there's a part of her that wasn't completely sure if Lindsay was innocent. And if it's not that she would cover for a murder, but she just felt like she really couldn't believe Lindsay would do it. And if she didn't do it, she wanted to hear why and get her side of the story before she turned her in. Later on, she kind of gives more information as needed to the appropriate authorities, but really in the beginning, I just felt like I think any family member would want to know the truth before, their loved one is toted away. You want 5 minutes in the room. What were you thinking? What is this about? Because
Right.
it changes the minute they're not in your custody or with you. And so I think she was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt at the same time, just desperate to find out what she knew and why. So
No, I like that. It was kind of a nice way to see that, and you played it really well against, the police characters that you brought in. So how did you go about creating the police officers that were involved in this case? Because their interaction seemed, really well done and kind of authentic. Did you have to dig into some of those details?
I'm lucky enough that I have a particular detective on call that I make sure that I'm bouncing all ideas off. And generally, the sentence that I begin with is, "I don't know if this will work or not, but I'd like it to work. So tell me how this needs to happen so it seems legitimate, And then he'll give me the ideas of, okay, well, this might not, but if you did this, so that's how I generally do. I always bounce things off a professional because and also I think my years in being in a legal field, I was a paralegal secretary for 18 years. I was around police. I have a homicide
Mm,
detective uncle. So, I have lots of that in my background, a lot of military background from my family. And I think that kind of lends itself sometimes into the police side. So I think a lot along the lines of police and law and justice, just from my background. And then, of course, I have great assets to tap into when I need to. So.
no, that's great. Now, without giving too much away, there's kind of a storyline in here that deals with, you know, DNA analysis and that kind of thing. How did you go about figuring out using that technology and that theme in this book?
I'm a little bit of a pantser, Jim. So I don't think that I sat down thinking that that would be an actual thing in the book. But as it progressed, it's like, well, okay, you're going to need something that's going to tie or bring this story together, um, that is believable, not just theory, that's scientific. And so that's where I went with it. And it was a little bit of a challenge because it's very prevalent. A lot of these places you can go. And so I needed it to be a little less prevalent in the way without trying to give too much in the story away. But there's
Right.
way workarounds in order to get certain information sometimes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of fun because if you're organic writer like that and you're a pantser and you came up with this concept, I mean, it really drops a bombshell in this book. I mean, you must have just kind of been on fire when you realized that, oh my God, what have I done? I've just opened the door here.
Yeah, there's nothing better than having an idea that like really like you kind of jump out of your chair and you're like, "Ooh, all right, that was good. Okay, now I got to go back and seed this here a little bit."
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, you're also very involved in the writing community. You're involved in Sisters in Crime. What are some of the things that you would recommend to authors that are just starting out on their career about getting involved in the community, whether it's Sisters in Crime or Mystery Writers of America or what have you?
Oh gosh. I think they're great. I'm the president of our local chapter. I've been, I'm a lifetime member now of Sisters in Crime. Um, I just think finding your community is so important, no matter what you do, because writing is lonely. Let's face it, we create in a bubble. But you want to be able to go out and connect with people, and there's no better place than to find like-minded, and other authors, and just beginning writers than in all of these locations. Sisters in Crime is great for education. They have such a great lineup for classes and write-ins, and the same with Mystery Writers of America. They have a lot of educational things. And I think you just can't go wrong with any of that. You can also, if you're a guppy, if you're like a brand new writer in the mystery, join the guppies. Great place to find critique partners, and they celebrate your successes. And it's just, I think it's always good to feel that, that you have
Yeah,
people that are kind of, because us writers, we're a little different sometimes. We think differently. No place in the world can you sit there and plot murder, and not be arrested
right.
for it. And so you need these people, Jim. You really do.
You do, you do, and you're exactly right. I mean, you create in this bubble, and it's very isolating. And then you start hearing other people with your same experience, and it really it's kind of affirming that okay, I'm on the right track. I'm doing the right thing. But yeah, being a part of organizations like Sisters in Crime or MWA, it really helps you sustain, a writing career.
It does. Yeah. And just being able to have shout outs about your successes, it just makes you feel good. And you need those good moments in every career that we undertake in our life, right? You want those
Right.
kudos moments, and you get those with those type of organizations, and you get to feel like you're part of something bigger too, which is always a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. So talk about, kudos and that kind of thing. You're a silver falchion finalist at Killer Nashville,
Yeah.
and yeah, congratulations on that. So hopefully that'll come through for you this week. But if not, even if you're just the finalist alone,
Yeah.
that's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, every accomplishment is, that's one thing I've learned along the journey, right? They're all high successes because not everybody makes that list. And if you're on that list, I mean, then go and toast yourself. You made it, to a
Absolutely.
certain degree, so absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So will I see you at BoucherCon then
You will.
in Nashville this year?
You will.
Good.
I'm on a panel on Thursday and excited for that. And yeah, be milling
Good.
around.
Yep, that's always the fun part, and that's part of that community piece we talked about is getting folks connected.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah. So, if you were to give one piece of advice to a new author, what would that be?
Hmm. Gosh, to a new author or a new writer? A new author? Um, hmm. I would say do you, I guess, at the end of the day, because there is I think that's one thing you can get into information overload. If how you should be doing something, you should be on social media. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. At the end of the day, it's writing is such a personal endeavor. Being an author and a published author is a business. It's different. So you have to have that mindset. But at the end of the day, you still need to be happy with your life. So, do things in balance that work for you and if it doesn't resonate, don't do it. It won't come through anyway. So just Why waste the time? If you don't want to be this person doing social media, whatever, don't. Just don't. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you wake up and feel happy, that's what's at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So
Yeah, it really is, and trying to find that balance, and I think you made a big point is, just be authentic, just be you, and
yeah,
it that shows through.
yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking with Mary Keliikoa on her new novel, Don't Ask, Don't Follow, and we're going to end up with something we call three quick hits, and that's
Uh-oh.
three quick questions. And I want to put you in Beth's mind space. So answer these from Beth's point of view.
Okay.
What's Beth's favorite cocktail? What does she like to drink?
Oh, she's Chardonnay. She likes her wine.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
How about her favorite music? What does Beth like to listen to?
She kind of likes reggae. Yeah, she likes
Okay,
kind of the reggae sound.
got it. And then finally, what's Beth's greatest fear?
Losing Lindsay, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can see that going through.
Yeah.
Folks, you're going to want to pick up Don't Ask, Don't Follow from Mary Keliikoa. It's it's if you like suspense and you like those dark family secrets, like we talked about, this is the one for you. So go out and grab one because I think you'll be hearing about this book later during the year. It's going to get some buzz. So congratulations on a great book, Mary.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This has been great.
It's been a lot of fun. Take care.
You too.